Good evening and welcome to yet another Stockholm vlog. So it's currently golden hour, weather's looking super lush, not a single cloud in the sky, and that should make for some great photography conditions. So let's head out there, set up the tripod, you know the drill, and then let's take some photos. Let's go. So I'm currently approaching photo location number 1. Right ahead of me, you can see it already and it's looking quite glorious. So having made a number of Stockholm vlogs now, and kind of feels like I keep heading to the same places over and over. Reason being, I don't think the city has the same variety that London offers, but we make the most of it anyway. And the other cool thing about going to the same places again and again is you can learn from your earlier mistakes or try to perfect some photos you've already taken, or just take a different spin on it and try something new in the same place, which can also result in a different photo altogether. So yeah, let's see if we can make that happen. Like I said previously, no two conditions are the same. Different days offer different weather, sunsets and rises in different spots, and as a result of that, you can take very, very different photos in the exact same locations anyway. Behind me is one of those compositions I absolutely cannot get enough of. I love these buildings here, and then in the harbour, with the water being calm enough, you can see a lot of reflections going on, which is also amazing. So that's exactly the shot I'm going for. Got my camera set up on a tripod, using a 10-stop ND filter, which of course is one of my favourite tools as well. Going for a 30-second exposure at ISO 11. 30-second exposure at ISO 100 f11. That sounds more right. And let's go check out the final result. For the next shot, I've literally just turned the tripod the other way and shooting directly into the sunset now. So got this classic building over here which looks really beautiful, and you'll see back here the sun's just setting. So the settings I went for was f16, reason being the tightest aperture gives you the biggest sun flares coming through. So managed to catch the sun just in the nick of time as it was just on the edge, which gave me a little bit of sun flare coming over the edge of the side here, which is exactly what I was going for. That looks really great. And I'll show you the final result in a second, but if you want to replicate the shot, I recommend going for the tightest aperture possible. In this case, I've bracketed my shot, and I'm going to edit it using the HDR technique. Reason being, I want some details over here on the building and the facade, and I don't want the sky blown out at the same time, so I'm going to use a dark exposure to get all the details in the sky. So without further ado, here's the photo. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So the great thing about being so far north up in Scandinavia is that the sunsets and sunrises last really long. So you got a really long golden hour, and then once the sun sets, which it already has, the blue hour lasts probably 45 minutes, an hour of a lot of really good residual light that you can still use. And that's in stark contrast to Dubai, where I was a few weeks ago, where the sun just kind of dips and the whole process lasts about 20 minutes, and that's the only really, really good light you get during the whole day. So luckily we're not dealing with that problem right now, because we are in Scandinavia, got a lot of residual light left to go, and that means we should hopefully be able to get a few more photos today. So the plan is to head up to my favorite sunrise spot and use the time up there to enjoy the blue hour and maybe get some skyline shots, and that should make for a very different mood to the sunrise shots I've taken from there previously. So I'm gonna head up there right now, take you with me, and let's hope we can still get some more good photos before it goes completely dark. Let's go. So after climbing that very steep hill, here we are at the top, and as predicted, still a lot of residual light left, and we can still take a lot of good photos. Let's make that happen. So because we're shooting in indirect light at the moment, there's no real need to use bracketing or use the HDR technique. Reason being, you don't have that harsh contrast between the brighter sky and the darker foreground. There's a bit of a difference regardless, but your camera's dynamic range should be strong enough to capture it all in one go. So that's why it's extremely important that you shoot in RAW always. And then in post-production you can drop the highlights a bit and raise the shadows a bit and then balance out the scene. And a single exposure should do just fine. So yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment, single exposures of the skyline behind me, and let me talk you through the shooting technique right now. So right now I've focused on this building right here and kept that in the center, and then I want to smooth out these waters, so it's not entirely dark yet, so the long exposures are quite limited. In order to make that happen, I used a 3-stop indie filter and shooting at the lowest ISO possible, which is 50. If your camera can't do that, set it to 100, which is also perfectly fine, and then use a very tight aperture. I used f16 in this case, and with all those factors combined, it allowed for a 10-second exposure. So here's the final result. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. So that concludes yet another successful sunset chase in beautiful Stockholm. Really happy with the outcome of those photos. I think I caught some really good ones, and yeah, gotta love those long days as well. It's already 9:30 and it's not even dark yet, so can't wait for a long successful summer of a lot of photography, and can't wait to share all of that with you in upcoming vlogs. So if you're interested in seeing all those vlogs, I'd recommend you hit that subscribe button below and join me on this journey. Anyway, it's getting late now, I haven't eaten dinner yet, and that's my main priority right now. Until then, good night. See you in the next one.